Joe Biden's victory as the next president of the United States of America comes after more than 3 days of uncertainty. Biden staked his candidacy less on any distinctive political ideology than on galvanizing a broad coalition of voters around the notion that Trump posed an existential threat to American democracy. Well, joining us to speak on what Biden's win means for Africa is Ambassador RENEE Sanders. She served as one of the U.S. government's top diplomats on African issues over a long career in the United States Diplomatic Corps, reaching senior positions ranging from ambassador to the Republic of Nigeria, Republic of Congo, National Security Council, Director for Africa at the White House, and U.S. Permanent Representative to the West African Regional Organization, ECOWAS. Good morning, Ms. RENEE. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining us on the morning show.
All right. All right. Very good. Well, I'd love to start with, I'd love for us to explore what a Biden's presidency would look like for Nigeria and the continent in terms of trade, regional security, and diplomatic relations. Well, with regards to diplomatic relations under Trump's administration, Africa and Nigeria has been on the short end of the stick. Well, take, for instance, Trump's administration's laissez-faire approach in the re-election of AfDB's president, Akinwumi Adesina, and now the delay of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as WTO DG. Well, do you think with a Biden-led government, Nigerians and Africans will face less of an opposition?
I think certainly the theme of the Biden administration is Build Back Better, and that includes partnerships, and I certainly see that Africa will play a key part in that. I have a lot of people that are around the president-elect who know Africa very, very well, and more importantly, they know Nigeria very, very well. And so I think as a result of that, you have a keen sense of the need to rebuild the relationship with the continent writ large. But in particular, countries like Nigeria and others are going to be prime in that rebuilding. So I'm optimistic, not only because of just the theme and the focus of the president-elect, but I also know that he has a number of really solid Africa hands, people that have worked in Africa, that have worked with the leaderships across the continent for many, many years, and who know the continent well and really want to rebuild this partnership that has been, as you have rightly stated, a little bit laissez-faire over the last couple of years.
All right, interesting. Now, I still want us to capitalize on trade. America's purchase of Nigerian oil has declined as a result of the growing focus of domestic energy production within the U.S. For instance, in 2019, the monthly volume of Nigerian crude purchased by the U.S. was really, really reduced, greatly reduced. And, you know, we also saw this again with years past. So my question is, with the Biden administration, are we likely to see, you know, something different? Is it likely to increase? Is it likely to maintain the same status as it is right now?
I actually think that it might probably maintain the status that it is now, or it might decrease. We certainly have stepped up our domestic production. Fracking has really intensified across the United States. So the need to import oil like we did for many, many years at the volumes that we did is certainly not there now. And I don't see that actually returning to the levels of, you know, decades ago. But that being said, I think the diversification issue is the one that needs to be addressed here. You know, I see the potential, and I'm sure that most of your audience does, of the number of things that Nigeria and the continent has to offer. It's not just about extractive commodities. And so I would think that when you're looking at the trade and business framework, you want to be looking at it holistically. There are a number of other things besides extractive industries that are important to the U.S.-Africa trade relationship. So, you know, for instance, you've got, you know, potential for agriculture is high, and it always has been high. And I really see that as a way to really step up the trade and investment relationship that the U.S. has with Nigeria and with the continent writ large. So I would not focus, you know, solely on the extractive industry. I know that's important for your foreign exchange, but I think for the trade and business relationship, you need to think broader than that.
Well, we'll continue on the line of trade. Well, it is tempting, to think that the Biden's administration will continue on the path of Obama's administrations. But analysts are saying that the Biden-led government will adopt Trump's trade policy of, making America, all of that. What is your take on that?
I have not. I've been following the campaign extremely closely, and I have not heard that as you have articulated, and I don't get that sense. What I've heard the most from the leadership of the Biden campaign and the president-elect himself is this idea that we have to reach back out to our partners, reach back out to countries where we have taken a step back. We've got to really build back our relationship with the global community writ large, with international organizations writ large. So I haven't seen the step back approach that you mentioned. That doesn't mean that domestic issues aren't going to come first. I think that that's for any country, yours included. Domestic issues always take priority, and that's not going to be any different here. You mentioned in your header that the U.S. is facing, very difficult social and economic and health issues. We actually have, really a nation that needs to be healed on so many fronts, not only in terms of the social atmosphere, but certainly on the health side. So those issues are definitely going to be front and center. But certainly the president-elect has talked extensively about the need to build back those partnerships that we have enjoyed for so many years with countries around the world, and particularly on the continent of Africa.
Interesting. Now, I like what you said there in terms of healing, America. That's something that Joe Biden has actually said is essential. And I want to take you back to what you said about focusing less on the extractive industry and, focusing more on our agriculture and, what we can give. Now, there was an initiative that was called Prosper Africa. It was put together by the U.S. government to open opportunities to do trade in Africa for the benefit of African communities. But this has suffered great financial setbacks, in terms of funding. And, it's just been on a standstill. Now, is this going to thrive? There are initiatives like this that have been set up, but a lot of times there are issues here and there, especially under the Trump administration. But now we're looking forward to Biden's administration. So is this going to help? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the help.
Well, I first would kind of push back on, at the end of the day, it's all about the help because, I've lived in Nigeria, and Nigerians and the Nigerian economic environment in terms of Nigerians really pushing that forward. I believe in the ability of Nigeria to push itself forward, and the creativity and the dynamism that's there is always going to be there. And so I count on that. But that doesn't mean that your friends and your partners like the U.S. don't come and provide additional partnership and assistance. On Prosper Africa, I have a completely different understanding of Prosper Africa. In fact, I've been talking about that over the last couple of weeks, actually with entities that I work with in Nigeria. And there is the West Africa Trade Hub that's based in Abuja, headquartered in Abuja, actually. And there's a huge Prosper Africa component to that focuses not only in partnership in terms of investment, but also partnership in terms of providing technical assistance. And the funding for Prosper Africa is actually there. So I'm not sure, where you're coming from necessarily with the funding aspect. The funding is there. The trade hub has actually been moved to Abuja, so it's actually in Nigeria. And it's for all of West Africa, but it's headquartered right there in your capital city. So the potential for taking advantage of the loan guarantees, the grant programs, the technical assistance, all of that falling under Prosper Africa, as well as the Development Finance Corporation. All of that is based right there. And so those opportunities are there. And I would encourage people and companies, and particularly SMEs, to really take advantage.
All right. As we begin to wrap up this...
I don't see that changing.
Sure.
I don't see that changing under the Biden administration. And we have a number of other programs, too, which, I can delineate at another time. But I don't see that changing. I actually see that support will stay there.
All right. Well, as we begin to wrap up, I'd love to ask, in terms of regional security, northern Nigeria has put defense relations between the U.S. and Nigeria. You know, the recent, take for instance, the recent hostage rescue of an American conducted in northern Nigeria by the U.S. Navy SEALs. Do you see the Biden administration tightening on that relationship? And also, it looks like, you know, the Biden-led government will be more involved in respect to issues of human rights violations. We know that during the NSAS protests, he lent his voice.
Yes, I mean, human rights, I think, is definitely going to be, part of the external foreign policy. It's going to be raised back up to a key component of our foreign policy, like democracy initiatives and election initiatives and assistance. So yes, I definitely see human rights as part of that. And security element, absolutely. We have to be partners with you in the security framework that's not only in the North, but elsewhere on the continent. We have to be a good partner, and we have to be an engaged partner, and we have to be a consistent partner. And I know that the president-elect has those views, and I know that that's what we'll be doing, not just in Nigeria, but across the board. You did mention something about the WTO at the top of that, and yes. I just want to circle back to make sure that we don't lose that. I would see, depending on when the WTO actually holds its vote, that it don't have a change in government until the 20th of January 2021. So it will really be up to the timing that the WTO chooses. But I don't understand this lack of support for Dr. Konjo-Iweala. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. And I am hoping that, depending on what the WTO wants to do, that they would wait until there is a transition here, and so that the U.S. can not only stand up and be a good partner in that international arena, but that we can also stand up and be a partner again in the Paris Accords for climate change.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this program.
Pleasure.
It's time now for a short break.